Hello everyone, Two Turn Studios lead dev here. Today we're going to learn how to print stuff to the console and what all the starting functions look like in the script. Now I'm going to take you all baby steps, so don't be scared. We're going to be doing our first bit of coding. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open Visual Studio Code. You're going to want to open folder. You're going to find your tutorial project. You're going to select the folder. See all this stuff here? Ignore. This is just typical Unity services. Nothing to worry about. You won't see everything here, but just don't mess with any of these. These are, as you see, CS project files to get Unity to work properly. As you see, there's nothing in these assets packages, but the assets is what we're going to be paying attention to. So what we're going to do, actually, to create a C# script, we're going to go into assets. We're going to right click, or you can go to asset, create, C# script. We're going to name it my tutorial script. Now, there's a way to set up to where if you double click this, it'll open it automatically in the code editor of your choice. We're just going to go the easier route. Just do an open file. We're going to go to assets, tutorial scripts, not cs.meta. No, not the .meta, the my tutorial script.cs. Okay. So maybe a little overwhelmed if you've never coded before. But the using here, this uses certain libraries that are generally required for doing basic Unity code functions. There are a couple methods that you're going to be wanting to know. Methods, functions, to not get into too many technical details. They're basically reusable chunks of code that you can do. But there are a couple special functions. I'll be calling them functions, but also known as methods. Start. So void start. Anything within these brackets has an in between here. So anything here, like step 1, step 2, step 3, these would all happen in the first frame of the start. Update is called every single frame. So it's constantly called everything in update. So anything you put in update is going to constantly run this over and over again. Like a race, like think of a race car track or a loop. It's going to loop to the bottom, then come back up and go it again. Start does not do that. Start does not do that. It does it once and once only. There is another function that is very similar to start. We're just going to do void awake. It's called awake. Awake is basically the same thing as start, except everything that happens in awake happens directly before start. So if you need something to a certain process to happen or code to be run that needs to be at the start of the script, but for some reason something needs to be a couple frames before start, that's what you can add in awake. But awake, we're probably not going to be messing with this much, so we can take out awake. So public class, my tutorial script mono behavior. Mono behavior is, just making sure it works in Unity to not get into too much technical details. Public class, my tutorial script. This is the name of the script that you have saved. Keep in mind, when you create a new script and open it, do not change this name at all. If you change this name and save it, then try to run your game won't run. It'll crash. It's not going to work because it's trying to call a script that is not named properly here. Just keep that in mind. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a simple print to console function, print to console code. So it's very simple to print to the console. You can do this for many things, testing. If there's a lot of processes that are in your game, which there will be, if you want to check by certain processes, say step 1 happens, step 2 happens, step 3, 4, 5, 6. Say there's a lot of steps happening. You'll want to put a print the step 1 finished here. That way, if it crashes or something after here, you know step 1 finished. You'll kind of get you'll get a good idea of what I mean by that coming along. So none of that what I just typed was code. So we're gonna get into actual code that will compile. So it's actually very simple. To keep it simple, I just use print. So we're gonna do print, and then parentheses. Visual Studio Code will automatically add a second parentheses. So add parentheses and print, and anything in here will print to the console. But you have to make it a string. And to do that, we have to put double quotes there. And so it has to be double quotes. And we're going to type a message saying, my tutorial project loaded. And remember, there needed to be a semicolon at the end of your script. Not the end of your script, sorry. At the end of each line, generally 99% of the cases you need a semicolon at the end of your line. It signals the end of a statement, or lack of a better term, it signals the end of a stop. So say that this thing here is a bus moving from point A to point B. This signals the stop of the point. And then after that is when it'll do more code. So let's save this. We're going to go in here, wait for the scripts to load. We're going to make sure the console is clear. We're going to click play. Now here is where you test your game. So play is basically run the game as is right now. But there will be one issue. And as you see, nothing's printed to the console. Why is that? Well, that's because, like I said in the past, this is your backend. This doesn't have anything in the hierarchy or in the scene that is bringing it into the game. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to just, what I like to do, maybe this is, what I like to do is I like to create my own script object. And object, I'll always be shortening object. When I say object, I'll usually shorten it with OBJ. Just simpler that way. And under here, we're going to click add component. We're going to want to type in our script. See bring up my tutorial script. I'm going to click that. And as you see, it's added. Now make sure that this is enabled. This has to be enabled. If it's not enabled, it's not showing up in the game. This is, oops. So we're going to save. Oh, looks like we got a scene that we got to save. My scene. So let's save the scene. We're going to play. We're going to play it up. And as you see, my tutorial project loaded. Basically, this model behavior, it printed. This is the function that it ran. My tutorial script is the script that ran. It's in start at, and as you see, the my tutorial script.cs11. Keep in mind this number right here after this .cs:11. That means that function, that line of code, that bus that made to stop was on line 11, started on line 11. This is very useful when dealing with errors. And as you see here, the 20, 59, 58, that is the current time that on your clock. As you see, it's 9 p.m. at my place and where I am right now. And this is 8:59 and 58 seconds. We're going to go back and we're going to do one more thing before we do a different print. We're going to print an update. We're going to do my tutorial project is running. We're going to save this. Now, think about it for a second. What will print do in update that is different from start? Okay, let's find out. Wait for that to load. We're going to clear the console. We're going to click play. As you see, my tutorial project loaded and my tutorial project is running. Now, as you see, it's printing 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 times. And that's because it's being called every single frame. So it's calling it constantly. So if you have an issue with like something that's repeating real fast, or you ever want to freeze your game for a second, click the pause button here. Easy. As you see, it now froze. It's not running anything in the game. It's frozen, but it is still rendered so that you can just unpause it. There we go. And as you see, it's doing constantly printing once again. And something that you want to notice here, in the console, there's a thing called collapse. If you uncheck collapse, it's not going to take the repeat messages. So basically, any message in the log that is repeating, if you click collapse, it will just have it in one message, so it's not clogging up the console. But it will say how many times that message occurred in this. As you see, it's up to 37,000. Let's unclick that. There's one more thing I wanted to mention before I forgot. There is one more function that you need to remember right now, and that is void fixed update. Fixed update is different because fixed update is specifically a single time per frame. Update is just called once per frame, but it calls as often as it can. Fixed update is fixed based on the frame rate you have set. So any physics that you're using with jumping, moving your player at high velocities, you want to include in fixed update. I made that mistake and spent too long on that when I was new to Unity. You can always put everything to be safe in fixed update, but not necessary. Just make sure you remember that about fixed update. Yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. This is Two Turn Studios. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if this helped out. Let me know if there's any other questions you have. We'll be getting into more videos on coding coming up in the next video. Have a good night, everyone.